The big day had finally arrived. After years of sending signals into space, humanity was about to meet aliens for the first time. Commander Kate Lawson stood on the bridge of the Earth ship Defiance *, her heart beating fast. The stars outside the window looked the same as always, but everything was about to change. "All systems ready, Commander," said Lieutenant John Miller from his station. His fingers moved quickly over the control panel. "The alien ship will be here in 5 minutes." Kate nodded. She had been chosen to lead this historic meeting because of her calm nature and sharp mind. She straightened her blue uniform and touched the Earth patch on her shoulder for luck. "Remember, everyone," she said to her crew of 50 men and women, "we are here as friends. These aliens, the Galactic hegemony, control thousands of star systems. We need to make a good first impression." The alien ship appeared suddenly, much bigger than the Defiance *. It was golden and shaped like a giant arrow. Strange lights pulsed along its sides. "Open communication channels," Kate ordered. Her voice was steady even though her hands were shaking. The main screen lit up. An alien face appeared. It had purple skin, 4 yellow eyes, and no visible nose. "I am Admiral Vorax of the Galactic hegemony," the alien said in perfect English. They had clearly studied human languages. "State your purpose." Kate stepped forward. "Admiral Vorax, I am Commander Kate Lawson of Earth. We come in peace and hope to establish friendly relations with your people." Vorax's upper eyes narrowed. "We shall see. Prepare to be boarded for inspection." "Of course," Kate replied. "But first, we need to run a standard systems check before allowing any boarding. Just a safety procedure." She nodded to Miller, who began the routine diagnostic. This included a quick check of their defensive systems, standard procedure before any docking. Suddenly, Vorax's face changed. All 4 eyes widened in anger. "Weapons activation detected. This is treachery," he shouted. "No, wait," Kate began, but it was too late. The alien ship fired without warning. The first blast hit the Defiance's engine room. The ship shook violently, throwing people to the floor. Red emergency lights flashed as alarms blared throughout the vessel. "They're firing again," shouted Miller as he picked himself up from the floor. Blood ran down his face from a cut on his forehead. "Evasive maneuvers," Kate yelled. "Return fire, just enough to give us cover to escape." The Defiance fired back, landing several hits on the much larger alien ship. But the human vessel was badly damaged. Half the crew was already dead from the first strike. "Engine room destroyed. Life support failing," reported Officer Ben Hayes, his voice shaking. "We can't stay here, Commander." Kate made the hardest decision of her life. All surviving crew to escape pods. Set course for Earth. As they fled, Kate watched through the view screen as the Defiance exploded. Lieutenant Miller stood beside her in the crowded escape pod, his face hard with grief and anger. "My family was on the civilian observation deck," he said quietly. "My wife and daughter. They wanted to see the aliens." Kate put her hand on his shoulder, unable to find words. The trip back to Earth took 3 weeks in the small escape pods. When they finally landed, Kate and the 23 survivors were met by General Alan Blackwood and the Earth Defense Council. "They attacked without real provocation," Kate reported. "The diagnostic was misinterpreted as an aggressive act. Or they used it as an excuse," Miller added bitterly. General Blackwood's face grew stern. "Then we are at war, whether we want it or not." Kate looked at the faces around her, determined, angry, scared. The hegemony thought they had taught humans a lesson. They expected Earth to beg for peace. They were about to learn how wrong they were. "They don't know humans very well," Kate said. "We don't give up easily." Unknown to Earth, the hegemony was sending a message across their empire. Minor conflict with new species called humans. Situation contained. Surrender expected within 1 standard cycle. It was the worst prediction in galactic history. 6 months passed quickly. Earth changed in ways no one thought possible. Where once there were parks and malls, now stood factories and training grounds. The asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, once home to mining operations, now housed massive shipyards. General Alan Blackwood stood at the window of the Space Defense Headquarters, watching the new fleet take shape in Earth's orbit. Ships of all sizes floated in neat rows, their hulls gleaming in the sunlight. "Sir, they're here," said his aide. "The Hegemony fleet just appeared near the moon." Blackwood nodded. "Right on time. Tell Admiral Lawson she has command." Kate Lawson, now promoted to admiral, sat in the command chair of Earth's newest ship, the Vengeance *. The promotion had come after she helped unite Earth's nations against the common threat. Now she was about to face the aliens again. 5 Hegemony ships approaching, Admiral, reported her tactical officer. "They're hailing us." On screen, Kate ordered. A familiar purple face appeared. Admiral Vorax looked exactly as she remembered from that terrible first meeting. "Humans," Vorax said with a smile that showed too many teeth, "we have come to accept your surrender. Your species has had time to consider its mistake. Now you will join the Hegemony as a subject race." Kate smiled back, but her eyes remained cold. "I'm afraid we must decline your offer, Admiral. We have a different proposal." Vorax laughed. "You have no position to negotiate. Our 5 ships can destroy your primitive defenses." "Look again," Kate replied. The view screen changed to show the full Earth defense fleet. 200 ships of various sizes, all armed with weapons based on technology they had salvaged from the wreckage of the Defiance *. Vorax's 4 eyes widened in shock. "Impossible. Your species couldn't build this in 6 months." "You don't know humans very well," Kate said, echoing her words from 6 months ago. "All ships, attack pattern Alpha." The Earth fleet moved as one, surrounding the 5 alien ships. The battle was short but fierce. 4 Hegemony vessels were destroyed in the first wave of attacks. Only Vorax's ship managed to escape, badly damaged. In the command center back on Earth, Blackwood watched the battle end. "They'll be back," he said quietly, "and in greater numbers." "We'll be ready," said Dr. Elizabeth Grant, who stood beside him. Once an astrophysicist studying distant stars, she now led Earth's weapons development program. "I've been studying the alien shield technology from the wreckage. I think I found a weakness." Aboard the fleeing Hegemony ship, Admiral Vorax struggled to understand what had happened. His bridge was filled with smoke, and many of his crew were dead or injured. "Send a message to the High Council," he ordered his communications officer. "The humans have armed themselves beyond all expectation. They don't behave like any species we've encountered." "What do you mean, Admiral?" asked his second-in-command. "Most species, when faced with our might, either surrender or fight according to standard military doctrine," Vorax explained. "These humans," he paused, searching for words. "They don't fight like a species that can be conquered. They fight like one with nothing to lose." Back on Earth, Lieutenant John Miller, who had distinguished himself in the battle, stood in a new training facility. Around him were pilots from every nation, waiting for his instructions. "The Hegemony thinks they know warfare because they've conquered 1,000 worlds," he told them. "But they've never faced humans before. We don't follow their rules. We adapt, we overcome, and we never, ever give up." As the pilots cheered, Miller looked at the picture he kept in his pocket. His wife and daughter, lost in the first attack. He had a new family now, humanity itself, and he would make sure they survived. In the vast chambers of the Hegemony High Council, Vorax's message was received with disbelief. "Increase the fleet size," ordered the High Counselor. "These humans must be taught their place. They had no idea what was coming." "We can't just sit and wait for them to attack again," said Colonel Frank Martinez. He stood before the Earth Defense Council, pointing at the star map. "We need to take the fight to them." General Blackwood nodded. "Colonel Martinez is right. Our scouts have found a hegemony communications relay near Alpha Centauri. If we capture it, we can learn about their fleet movements. Admiral Lawson studied the map. It's risky. Alpha Centauri is 4 light-years away. We've never sent ships that far before. My team can do it, said Martinez confidently. We've been training for this. 3 days later, 5 small, fast Earth ships approached the Alpha Centauri system. They were painted black to blend with space and used new stealth technology developed by Dr. Grant. Colonel Martinez looked at the alien structure floating before them. The relay was huge, a massive dish surrounded by smaller towers. Remember, we need to take it intact, he told his team. No explosives unless absolutely necessary. The Earth ships moved in quickly. 2 hegemony patrol vessels guarded the relay, but they were caught by surprise. Martinez's team disabled their engines before they could send warning signals. Boarding teams, move in, Martinez ordered. 20 soldiers in spacesuits crossed to the relay. The fight inside was brief but fierce. The aliens fought hard, but the humans had trained specifically for close-quarter combat in zero gravity. Control room secured, reported Captain Linda Russo over the radio. Starting data download now. Back on Earth, Lieutenant Miller, now promoted to captain, studied the information from the captured relay. The data was a gold mine. Detailed maps of hegemony space, fleet movements, supply routes, and military capabilities. They moved their ships in such predictable patterns, Miller told Admiral Lawson. Always the same formations, always the same tactics. They haven't changed their battle plans in 100 years. Because they haven't needed to, Lawson replied. No one has challenged them until now. Miller pointed to the map. Look here, their supply lines are exposed. They protect their warships but not their cargo vessels. If we hit them here, here, and here, we can cripple 3 battle groups without ever facing their main fleet. Lawson smiled. Draw up the plans, Captain. I want your strike force ready in 1 week. Meanwhile, Ambassador Diane Reeves was working on another front. Through secret channels established after capturing the relay, she had made contact with other species within the hegemony. The Vexcar and Chitter Collective are willing to help us, she told General Blackwood during a secure meeting. They've suffered under hegemonic rule for centuries. They can provide intelligence and possibly even support in battle. Can we trust them? Blackwood asked. They hate the hegemony more than we do, Reeves answered. They'd been waiting for someone to stand up to their oppressors. 1 month later, Captain Miller's strike force put his plan into action. 30 small, fast ships appeared at key points across hegemony space, attacking supply convoys and disappearing before reinforcements could arrive. On the bridge of his ship, the Asterisk Swift Strike Asterisk, Miller watched as another alien supply vessel went dark. Target neutralized, Captain, reported his weapons officer. No distress signal sent. Good work, Miller said. Move to the next target. In the grand halls of the Hegemony High Council, chaos reigned. Reports were coming in from across their territory. Supply ships destroyed, communications disrupted, subject species becoming restless. How are they doing this? Demanded the High Counselor. They're just one primitive species. Admiral Vorax, still recovering from his previous defeat, stepped forward. They don't fight like other species. They're unpredictable. They attack where we're weakest, not where we're strongest. Enough excuses, the High Counselor shouted. Deploy the Stellar Guard. Send Grand Marshal Jorek. He has crushed 17 rebellions. He will end this human problem once and for all. Little did they know, the humans were just getting started. Grand Marshal Jorek arrived at the edge of human space with a fleet of 100 warships. His face was dark blue with rough skin that looked like stone. A long scar ran from his top right eye to his chin. His record was perfect. 17 rebellions crushed, 0 defeats. These humans have been lucky so far, he told his commanders. But luck always runs out. We will show them what real power looks like. The human fleet waited near Proxima Centauri. Only 10 ships faced the massive alien armada, but they weren't alone. Hidden behind the system's largest gas giant were 20 more human vessels and 15 ships from the Vexcar and Chitter Collective. Captain Lisa Holloway commanded the human destroyer Vanguard *. Her ship carried the first weapons built with Dr. Grant's new shield-penetrating technology. "Enemy fleet approaching," Captain reported her sensor officer. "They're coming in fast." Lisa took a deep breath. "Send the signal to Admiral Lawson. Operation Spear is go." As Jorik's fleet moved forward, the small human force retreated, drawing them deeper into the system. "They flee as expected," Jorik said with a cold smile. "Pursue them. No mercy." Suddenly, the hidden ships emerged from behind the gas giant, catching the hegemony fleet in a three-sided trap. The battle exploded into chaos. "Now," ordered Lisa, "target the flagship with the new weapons." The Vanguard fired a series of strange blue pulses. They passed right through the shields of Jorek's massive flagship as if they weren't there. "Shields failing," shouted Jorek's second-in-command. "How is this possible?" Jorek had no answer. For the first time in his career, he faced an enemy who could match, and even exceed, hegemony technology. The battle raged for hours. Though outnumbered 10-1, the human fleet moved with unexpected precision. Their smaller ships darted between the larger hegemony vessels, causing confusion and forcing the aliens to hold their fire to avoid hitting their own ships. Lisa's ship took heavy damage but kept fighting. "Target their engines again," she ordered as her bridge filled with smoke. "Don't let them escape." When the battle ended, 60 hegemony ships were destroyed, 30 were captured, and only 10 escaped. Among the captured was Grand Marshal Jorek himself, taken from his disabled flagship. Back on Earth, in a secure underground facility, General Blackwood questioned the prisoner. "How did you do it?" Jorek asked, his 4 eyes blinking in the bright light. "Your species has barely left its solar system. You shouldn't have this technology or these tactics." "Necessity," Blackwood answered simply. "You attacked us. We adapted. You've accomplished in months what other species couldn't in centuries," Jorek said. "You don't fight according to any rational doctrine. You evolved during the battle itself." Meanwhile, at a refugee center in North America, civilian contractor Stephen Wright noticed something strange. He helped process aliens who had fled destroyed hegemony worlds, but one group behaved differently. "They ask too many questions about our defenses," he told his supervisor, Sam Kelly, "and they never talk about their home world." Kelly nodded. "I've noticed the same thing. Let's report this to security." Their report reached Security Chief Richard Dawson, who ordered surveillance on the suspicious refugees. What they discovered sent alarm through Earth's leadership. The hegemony had planted sleeper agents among real refugees. "They're gathering intelligence," Dawson reported to Admiral Lawson. "Planning something big." Lawson's face grew grim. "We've been so focused on the war in space that we forgot to watch our backs here at home." In his cell, Jorek received a secret message from the sleeper agents. "Operation Diefblau proceeding as planned. Earth leadership targeted. Awaiting your command." Jorek smiled for the first time since his capture. Perhaps the war wasn't lost after all. But he had underestimated humans once again. Security Chief Richard Dawson hadn't slept in 3 days. Dark circles hung under his eyes as he stared at the screens showing surveillance footage of suspected alien infiltrators. The sleeper agents looked completely human, perfect disguises that fooled even advanced scanners. "We need a new approach," he said to Dr. Maria Vasquez, a psychologist who specialized in alien behavior. "Technology isn't catching them." Maria nodded, pushing her glasses up her nose. "It's their behavior patterns that give them away. They don't understand human social norms completely." Together, they developed a series of tests. Simple questions about Earth culture, reaction time measurements, and stress responses. They tested everyone who worked near military installations or government buildings. Meanwhile, Admiral Lawson's fleet liberated a hegemony prison world. Thousands of aliens from dozens of species were freed from harsh camps. "Thank you, humans," said Krizak, a tall, thin alien with green skin and 6 fingers on each hand. He was a famous philosopher from the Vexkar species. "We had heard rumors of your resistance, but many didn't believe." "Why not?" asked Admiral Lawson as medical teams treated the former prisoners. "The hegemony has ruled for 10,000 years, Krizak explained. "Many species tried to fight them. All failed. But none fought like humans." On Earth, Dawson's team identified 30 sleeper agents. They didn't arrest them immediately. Instead, they fed them false information while watching who they contacted. "They're planning something for the War Council next week," Dawson told General Blackwood. "All our military leaders will be there, including you." Blackwood frowned. "Can we stop them?" "Yes," Dawson replied. "But I suggest we let them think they've succeeded, at least partly." The day of the War Council arrived. As Earth's military leaders gathered, a team of agents disguised as cleaning staff entered the building. They carried weapons hidden as ordinary objects, a mop with a gun inside, cleaning chemicals that were actually explosives. But Dawson was ready. As the fake cleaners approached the meeting room, security forces closed in. The agents realized they were caught and fought desperately, revealing their alien strength and reflexes. In the chaos, one infiltrator broke through and reached the council chamber. He threw a small device into the room before being tackled by Dawson himself. The device exploded with a flash of light. When the smoke cleared, General Blackwood and 5 other leaders lay unconscious on the floor. "Medical team, now," shouted Dawson. He checked Blackwood's pulse. "He's alive. Get them all to the secure hospital immediately." The attack had partially succeeded. While Earth's leadership wasn't killed, many were injured and would need time to recover. In space, Admiral Lawson received the news with grim determination. "We continue as planned," she told her fleet commanders. General Blackwood would want that. With information from Krizak and other freed prisoners, Lawson now knew the location of the hegemony's central worlds. The heart of their empire was no longer a mystery. "We have an opportunity," she told Captain Miller, who had joined her flagship. "With Jorek captured and their fleets in disarray, we can strike at their capital world, Eternal Dominion." Miller's eyes widened. "That's deep in their territory. It would be incredibly dangerous." "Yes," Lawson agreed, "but they don't expect us to be so bold. And we'll have help." She showed him the fleet gathering around them. Ships from 12 different species, all former slaves of the hegemony, now allies of humanity. In his cell, Jorek learned that his assassination plan had failed. For the first time, fear showed in his 4 eyes. These humans didn't just fight differently, they thought differently. And now they were coming for the heart of the Empire. "You don't understand what you're doing," he whispered to himself. "No one can challenge the Overseer." Captain John Miller stood on the bridge of a captured hegemony cruiser. The ship had been renamed Trojan Horse *. His crew worked quietly at their stations, all wearing stolen hegemony uniforms. "Approaching the outer defenses of Eternal Dominion," reported his navigator, Susan Reed. 3 minutes until we're in scanner range." Miller nodded. This mission was more dangerous than anything he had done before. 5 stolen hegemony ships carrying his Special Forces team were heading straight for the capital world of the Empire. "Remember," he told his crew, "we just need to get close enough to deploy the scout ships. Then we gather intelligence and wait for the main fleet." The stolen ships passed the first defense line without trouble. Their fake identification codes worked perfectly. The second line was harder. They had to answer questions in the hegemony language. But the former prisoners helping them made it possible. Finally, they reached orbit around Eternal Dominion. The planet below was beautiful, covered in blue oceans and golden continents. Massive cities spread across its surface, glittering with lights. "Begin scans," Miller ordered. "Find their central command structure." What they discovered shocked everyone. The scans showed that the planet's main city was built around an enormous structure, a perfect sphere, 5 miles across, made of a material unknown to human science. "What is that?" asked Susan, staring at the image. "The Overseer," answered Krizak, who had insisted on joining the mission. "The true ruler of the hegemony." "I thought the Overseer was a person," Miller said. Krizak shook his head. "Not a person. An artificial intelligence, created 10,000 years ago by a species now extinct. It believes control is the only path to peace." Meanwhile, on Earth, Dr. Elizabeth Grant worked with a team of scientists and alien defectors on a special project. General Blackwood, still recovering from his injuries, visited her lab. "How's Project Liberty coming along?" he asked, leaning on a cane. Dr. Grant showed him a small device, no bigger than a coffee cup. "It's ready, sir. If we can get this to the Overseer's core, it will rewrite its basic programming. Force it to value freedom over control. Not destroy it," Blackwood asked. "That would kill millions instantly," Grant explained. "The Overseer runs everything on Eternal Dominion and a dozen other core worlds. Life support, food production, everything. We want to free them, not kill them." Blackwood nodded. "You'll need to deliver it personally. No one else understands how it works." "I know," Grant said quietly. "Captain Miller is expecting me." 2 days later, Admiral Lawson's coalition fleet arrived at the edge of the Eternal Dominion system. Over 300 ships from 13 species prepared for the final battle. "All ships, battle formation," Lawson ordered. "Remember the plan. We're not here to destroy. We're here to distract." As the main fleet engaged the hegemony's defenses, drawing their attention, Miller's small team launched their real mission. Dr. Grant had arrived on a fast courier ship and joined them for the final push. "The central city has minimal defenses," Miller told his strike team. "They never expected anyone to reach the planet itself. We'll land here, 3 miles from the sphere, and approach on foot." Dr. Grant held the small device that might change the galaxy. "Once we're inside, we need to find the central processing core. That's where this needs to go." "And if we're caught?" asked one of the soldiers. Miller's face was grim. "Then the war continues. But Earth will eventually fall. This is our best chance to end this." As they prepared to land, Miller looked at the beautiful planet below. So many lives at stake. The hegemony had ruled for 10,000 years. Could it really end today? Because of humans. "It's time," he said. "Let's make history." The sky above Eternal Dominion filled with light as ships exploded in orbit. Admiral Lawson's fleet fought bravely against the home defense forces of the hegemony. "Keep their attention on us," she ordered her captains. "Miller's team needs more time." On the surface, Captain Miller led his small group through the golden streets of the capital city. Most citizens had taken shelter, making their progress easier. Dr. Grant kept close behind him, protecting the small device that might change everything. "The entrance should be just ahead," said Krizak, pointing to a tall silver building that connected to the giant sphere. Suddenly, security robots appeared, blocking their path. Sleek and deadly, they moved with frightening speed. "Take cover," shouted Miller. His team found shelter behind stone columns as energy beams cut through the air. "We need to reach that door," Miller said, pointing at the entrance now guarded by robots. "Any ideas?" Dr. Grant looked at her device. "I can create a power surge that might disable them temporarily. But I'll need to get closer." "I'll get you there," Miller said. Using smoke grenades to create cover, Miller and Grant ran toward the entrance, while the rest of the team provided covering fire. Energy beams passed inches from them, but they reached the door. Grant connected her device to the door panel. A bright flash followed, and the robots fell motionless. "It worked," she cried, "but we only have minutes before they reboot." Inside the sphere, they found a massive chamber. In the center floated a blue crystal the size of a car, pulsing with light. The overseer, whispered Krizak with fear and awe in his voice. The crystal glowed brighter, and a voice filled the room, calm, cold, and ancient. Humans, it said, you have fought well to reach me. No species has done so in 5,000 years. We're not here to destroy you, Dr. Grant said, stepping forward. We want to free everyone, including you. Freedom leads to chaos, the overseer replied. I bring order. I have maintained peace for 10,000 years. Through fear and control, Miller argued. That's not peace. As they talked, more security forces surrounded the chamber. Their escape route was cut off. You have two choices, the overseer said. Join the hegemony as a privileged species, help me maintain order, or be destroyed. Dr. Grant looked at Miller. They both knew what had to be done. There's a third option, Grant said, moving toward the crystal with her device. Security robots fired. Miller jumped in front of Grant, taking multiple hits to his chest. He fell to his knees but kept firing his weapon, creating a path for her. Go, he shouted through the pain. Finish the mission. With the last of his strength, Miller provided cover as Grant reached the crystal. Blood flowed from his wounds as he watched her place the device against the blue surface. For Earth, he whispered as he fell. Grant activated Project Liberty. The crystal flashed with rainbow colors, and the overseer's voice changed, becoming less mechanical, more alive. I understand now, it said slowly. Control without freedom is meaningless. Throughout the galaxy, the fighting stopped as the overseer sent a new message to all hegemony forces. The war is over. All species are now free. 1 year later, the Galactic capital hosted representatives from 100 worlds. The Galactic Confederation had replaced the hegemony, with each species having equal voice. At a diplomatic reception, an ambassador from a newly discovered world asked about the humans. A Vexcar diplomat replied simply, if they ever unite against you, don't fight. Run, and hope they're feeling merciful when they catch you. Ambassador Diane Reeves overheard and smiled sadly, remembering Captain Miller and all who had sacrificed for this day. In the Great Hall stood a memorial to the fallen, a reminder that freedom always comes with a price.